Starting off this hour is Caitlin in Houston, Texas. Hey, Caitlin, what's up in your world?
Hey, Dave and John. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. How can we help?
Hey, so my fiance and I were due to get married in about 2 weeks, and I'm due with our first in September. My question is about prenups. I've heard you talk about them previously, but not as it relates to a business. And he's brought it up once before. I explained to him why I don't like them, and I actually sent him a podcast you did on it, and apparently he understood from there, and the subject was dropped. But he's brought it up again, and he wants his business land, money he's acquired to this point, all in the prenup. So I don't know what to tell him or how to help him understand my perspective, or maybe I'm wrong about businesses in a prenup. He had a previous business partner go through a divorce, and the wife tried to take part of the business. So I think that's part of his concern, but I don't know what to tell him or how to go.
So what's he make on this business?
He has a 50-50 partner, and he makes about $67,000 a year.
Okay. Whoop-de.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say high five, man.
Yeah, that's awesome, but I mean, he doesn't make $680,000 a year. So,
yeah.
I have a lot of thoughts, and most of them are too mean to say out loud without filtering them. So,
and it's hard for me to be quiet because I've got a lot of mean thoughts in my head. So
well, you go first, old meanie.
Caitlin, I don't like.
Here's Mean John. Here we go.
I'm gonna go nice. I don't like prenups. I don't like them. It feels like you're walking into something that there should not be an exit strategy for, with at least a crack in the door or a toe out the door, unless you've got some really complex situations. I just don't like them. And I get that he's seen somebody get burned. That makes sense to me. What I don't like is you guys sat down and had this conversation. You talked about it. You made peace with it. And then 2 weeks out, he circled back. And that feels like a move to me. That feels like a move that lacks integrity.
Yeah, like this discussion should have had before we made a baby.
And it sounds like you did have it, right?
And this discussion should have been had before we were 2 weeks from marriage.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
I did bring it up previously. He just, I said no, and he agreed
with our stance on the podcast. So our stance on the podcast is what John is saying. Okay? Right. And I'll repeat what I probably said then, because it's what I say every time I get this question. Okay? If everything is fairly equal, and this is fairly equal, I would not marry someone that required a prenup, because you are planning your failure. You're planning your failure. And he loves his business, his half of his business, more than you. He's more worried about his business partner than you. And that's just, he didn't mean to say that, but this action says that. And so, no. Now, and I used to, when I first started this, and you heard this on that podcast probably, because I almost always say this, I used to say no prenups ever. The only time I say a prenup is a good idea is in extreme situation. That's why I asked about the size of the business. If he's making $1 million a year on this business and they own $20 million worth of property and you got nothing, yeah, that's an extreme situation. And that would warrant, the difference is a extreme situation. And even then, I'm probably not, 50% of the prenup is for the actual marriage, but 50% of it is for both of your crazy relatives. Because Uncle Crazy as a June Bug shows up and decides your Uncle Crazy Junebug decides he wants a piece of your husband's business that was there before you were, or Uncle Junebug showed up, and you can just throw up your hands and go, I can't help you, I got a prenup. And so it keeps the weirdness of your extended family in line, and all extended family has weirdness. It's just every family. So it's good in extreme situations. This is not extreme enough. This has to do with he was wounded by the other deal, and he's extrapolating that into your new marriage, and that is not good medicine.
Right. And here's my concern for you. This leaves you really exposed either way, right? Because now you're having to either go into a marriage and sign a piece of paper that you don't feel comfortable marrying, which is going to put a wedge between you and this guy that you are tethering yourself to for the rest of your life. Or you're going to be a single mom here in September, right?
Yeah.
So he's put you in an impossible situation, and that's why, even beyond the prenup, I'll even go as far to say I get that he's been burned and he's been hurt before, and that's a scar fresh on his soul. I get that. Cool. I don't like that he waits till that feels like a move to me, and that feels like somebody that's going to pull move after move after move on you here in the future.
And even if he wasn't meaning to do that and was manipulative,
right?
He has unbelievably bad timing.
Right. Yeah.
At a minimum, that's giving him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, you settle this before we make babies, before we get engaged.
Right. And here's the bigger thing, Dave. I know there's millions of people that are going to hear this and say that's stupid. That is stupid. You got to protect yourself.
If they say that, they're stupid.
I wasn't going to say that, but here's what I was going to say. If that's your first response, then don't get married.
Yeah.
Don't get married.
Let me give you the weirdest one I ever had was a lady called and said, my fiance has a classic 1968 Mustang that's worth $140,000 that he built frame up, and he wants a prenup to protect that. And Papa Dave said, don't marry him.
Yep.
What? Don't marry him. He loves this stupid car more than you.
That's right.
Don't marry him. If it's my daughter, I'd run that guy off with a gun.
Right.
No, do not marry him. This is not marriage material. He has his priorities all screwed up. If you love a car more than you love your fiance, you are not marriage material.
And it will move over time. That car will become a boat, which will become a house, which will become my kid's going to this college and nobody else. It'll become a thing.
It has to be, I'll take a bullet for you. It's the only shot you've got at making it through a marriage.
Yeah, because you got to burn all the boats, man, because marriage is hard.
Yeah. Everybody's going to have a moment where you go, I'm done with you.
I'm out.
I'm out. And if you say you haven't had that, then you haven't been married.
Then you're lying. And then you got to run to
you're lying.
You got to run to the shore and realize, I don't have any boats.
Oh God, I said, there's nowhere to go. I can't drive off in my classic car because again, And so you got to make it work.
I want somebody that will look at my daughter and my son and say, I'll set that car on fire for you.
Yeah.
That's the guy that's going to sit at my kitchen table.
Yeah.
Right.
And this business is how I make a living, and I love my business and I love being in business, but it doesn't even show up on the same spectrum.
I'll walk away from it all tomorrow.
Of my love for you.
That's right.
Now play that one back for Bubba.